You know that wine glass in your hand? It's not just a container. Nope. It's actually a precision-engineered tool, something that's been refined over 2,000 years. So today, we're going to uncork the science and the history behind its design to find out if all that fuss really makes a difference. And let's be honest, it's a fair question, right? We've all seen those store shelves with a million different kinds of glasses, and each one promises to unlock the perfect flavor. But is that real? Or are we all just buying into a really, really good story? Well, that's the mystery we're diving into today. To get to the bottom of this, we first have to understand the tool itself. I mean, every single part of a modern wine glass is there for a reason. It's this perfect blend of form and function. Yeah, look at this. Nothing here is an accident. First, you've got the base. Pretty obvious. It gives the glass stability. The stem, though, is genius. It keeps your warm hand away from the wine, acting like a thermal barrier. And it's the perfect lever for swirling. The bowl? That's the main event, of course. It's basically an aeration chamber. And finally, that thin rim? It's designed to deliver the wine perfectly onto your palate. See? Every single part has a job to do. But this design didn't just appear out of nowhere. Oh no. It's the result of 2,000 years of trial and error and innovation. So let's take a quick trip back in time and see how this incredible tool actually came to be. Way back in ancient times, you'd be drinking from a clay cup, or maybe even an animal horn. But then, in 1st century Rome, blown glass is invented, and that changes the game completely. Fast forward to 15th century Venice, and artisans start making this incredibly clear glass called cristallo. And that's where we see the first recognizable design with a bowl, a stem, and a base. Then, in the 17th century, the English perfected lead crystal, making glasses way stronger and more brilliant. And it all culminates in the 1950s when a guy named Claus Riedel comes along and says, hey, the specific shape can change the taste, and boom, grape-specific glasses are born. Okay, so the design evolved over time. We get that. But how does it actually work? This is where we get into the really cool science. The shape of that glass is literally designed to manipulate the physics of the wine inside it. So the most important idea here is something called aeration. Just think of it as letting the wine breathe. When wine hits the air, it starts to release hundreds of these volatile aromatic compounds. Those are the little molecules that create the incredible smells. And it's simple, really. A wider bowl means more surface area, and more surface area means more aeration. And you know that simple swirl we all do? Well, fluid dynamicists have a much fancier name for it: orbital shaking. What it does is create a wave that dramatically increases the surface area of the wine, which speeds up that release of aromas. For the longest time, we just knew that it worked. It took modern science to figure out precisely why it works. Which brings us to a huge breakthrough. Back in 2015, a team of Japanese scientists developed a special camera. They called it a Sniff Cam to actually visualize what was happening with the vapors inside the glass. Okay, get this. It's fascinating. The Sniff Cam showed that in a regular wine glass, the ethanol vapor, that harsh smell of alcohol, it actually forms a ring right around the rim of the glass. This leaves the center of the glass as a kind of low alcohol zone, which is where all those delicate, fruity, and earthy aromas can hang out without being overpowered. The glass is literally separating the good smells from the harsh ones. It's an unbelievably clever design. And it isn't just about smell. The shape of the rim and the bowl actually dictates how you tilt your head to drink. A wide-rimmed glass makes you tip your head forward, so the wine just washes over your whole tongue. But a narrow flute for champagne, that makes you tilt your head way back, shooting the liquid toward the back of your mouth, which actually enhances the feeling of acidity and all those bubbles. So the physics are solid, but that's only half the story. The next piece of our puzzle doesn't come from a lab with sniff cams, it comes from psychology. Turns out, the glass is also playing a really powerful trick on our minds. So on one side, you have the direct physical effects, how the glass is aerating the wine and funneling all those aromas to your nose. But on the other side, you have these powerful psychological effects, how our brain sees the shape, feels the weight of the glass, and then applies those expectations to the wine itself. It's wild, but our brains are pretty much hardwired to connect round shapes with things like fruitiness and sweetness. There's a name for this: sensation transference. We literally transfer our feelings about the glass to the wine. An elegant glass makes the wine taste more elegant. A heavy, clunky glass might make it seem less refined. But here's the real kicker. Your awareness of the glass seems to be the key. When they do blindfolded tests and people can't see the shape, a lot of these perceived differences just vanish. Okay, we've gone through the history, the physics, and the psychology. It's time to circle all the way back to our original question and deliver a verdict. So does the shape of the wine glass really matter? The answer is a huge, resounding yes. It's not just clever marketing. It's this beautiful two-pronged attack. The physical design genuinely changes the aroma by managing alcohol vapor, and at the same time, the psychological cues from the glass's shape and feel are priming our brains for what to taste. It's a perfect marriage of science and suggestion. So what does this all mean for you? Well, here's a super simple guide. If you're drinking a big, bold red, you want a glass with a large bowl for lots of aeration. For a crisp white wine, a smaller bowl is better to preserve those delicate smells and keep it cool. And for anything sparkling, a tall, narrow flute is your friend. It keeps all those lovely bubbles from escaping. It's a really practical way to put all this science to good use. I mean, think about it. We've spent centuries perfecting this one tool for experiencing flavor, and that just raises a fascinating question for the future. As we learn more about sensory science, some people are even calling it gastrophysics, and as trends start to shift toward these universal glasses that work for everything, you have to wonder, how will our tools for tasting continue to evolve? What comes after the perfect glass?
Don't forget to like and subscribe for more How Meets History.